In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most kind. Dear viewers, I greet you with Islamic greeting. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, which means peace be with you, mercy and Allah's blessing be on you all. Today, we have two special guests on our weekly program, Better Future. As you know, this program is hosted by me, Khwaja Muhammad Suleiman, and I have a co-host with me, Sabzada Farooq Qadri Sahib. And you know all the shows that we have done in past weeks, every guest that we had, every special person that we had on the show, they all talk about education and knowledge. How can a person better himself? How a child can better himself as he grows and learns knowledge, education. They are the foundation of a human being, society, and so forth. So we are very fortunate today to have with us two teachers. One, Sarah Hewitt Clarkson. She is a head teacher from a local primary school, Henderson Park School, here in Sparbrook. She's been head teacher for so many years and teacher for many years. And also we have Ghazala Salim Saiba, who's been on the show before. As you know, she is also a teacher as well as a relationship counselor, but also she performs another task, which is, teaching parents how to communicate with adult children, because, we are living in a society where life is, it's not easy, hard. Children, as they grow, they face so many problems in society. So she is there giving them guidance and counseling to the parents as well as to the youngsters. So we welcome her input in this show, inshallah, today. So the first question I'm going to ask our head teacher is that what make you choose this profession as a teacher? Is it because your family were in teaching, or is it you chose this job because you love children or whatever? What is your motivation to be a teacher?
Well, thank you for that question. It's a combination of both, actually, Mr. Suleiman. So my dad was a head teacher, Malcolm. He's now 86. He was a secondary school head teacher, and his subject was maths. So he was a maths teacher at a local school, Handsworth Grammar School for Boys in Birmingham. And then he went on to be a deputy head in Wolverhampton and a head teacher eventually in a secondary school in Dudley. So teaching was in my family. And I used to go with my sister along to events at my dad's school. And obviously my sister and I also went through Birmingham schools, primary school in Quinton. And then I went to Handsworth Grammar School for Girls. And then I went to a sixth form college on the Hagley Road. So I'm a passionate Brummie. I loved every step of my education. Primary school, secondary school, sixth form college. I then went on to university and came back to Birmingham to do my PGCE at Newman College, as it was called then. And like a lot of young people, I had other ideas growing up: a hairdresser, a probation officer I fancied. And my first idea for my first degree was geography, so maybe something to do with geography. But then actually my degree turned into a philosophy degree. I'm very interested in philosophy and thinking. And I just love the idea about being around young people and being part of their journey into their next part of their life. And unlike my dad, who was passionate about secondary school, I was passionate about primary school. I think the change you see from a 3-year-old, I have 3-year-olds at my school because we have a nursery, the change from 3 years old to 11 years old, it may not be many years, but actually it is a transformation in a little human being's life. Many 3-year-olds come, their speech isn't developed yet, it's not meant to be. Some of them maybe still be in nappies, and they leave articulate, brilliant at reading, writing, maths, ideas, opinions, artistic. They've studied 12 subjects at primary school, and off they go into their secondary school experience. So for me, it's the transformation from a 3-year-old to an 11-year-old who's ready to take on that next part in their educational journey that I love. And I love that primary schools have a huge family feel to them. We see parents every morning. I'm on the gate every morning. We chat, we laugh, we sometimes cry, but we share in each other's experiences. I'm also a mother of 2 daughters, and we have so many things in common. We all want the best for our children. Me as a mother, me as a head teacher, and all of my families, mums, dads, aunties, uncles, grandparents. We all want our children to be happy and to enable them to thrive. And I've never deviated from my career path. I've never tried anything different. And I've been at my current school, which is here in Sparkhill, nearly 20 years. And before that, I taught in 6 schools in Dudley. And I absolutely love it, even in the face of all the tricky areas that we have to deal with as head teachers, funding crises, recruitment and retention. Even with all of that, it's the best job in the world, and I wouldn't do anything else.
Excellent. You know, my own grandchildren go to your school, and you know, as I take those children to school, yes, I see you, you know, on the gates welcoming children with your open arms, and also a lot of parents, you know, have a consultation with you, they seek advice from you. You know, don't mind saying that, you know, you're like a mother figures to them. And, you know, it's excellent work that you do. And, you know, we as a community appreciate all your effort. And also, we see that you provide a leadership to the teachers, as well as, you know, leadership to the small children, like I said, you know, small children, and they will grow up. Ghazala Salim Sahab, I was going to ask you, you know, we, in our community, every parent's desire is that their children do well. You know, I mean, this is like something very passionate in our community, that, you know, every parent wants their child to be a doctor or, you know, engineer or some professional that, you know, can make name for themselves, and which is right, you know, of course, that's what you expect. But sometimes, you know, a child maybe doesn't have that natural drive and ability to achieve, you know, the full potential. So what would you advise to the parents, that some parents are, you know, very pushing their children to go forward, but unfortunately it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So
thank you for that question, and you know, thank you for, you know, offering me this opportunity to come to the show to discuss and share my points of view as an educator and as a person working with the community as well. So I do see a lot of people having this mindset that their children should achieve to become a doctor or a dentist or an engineer, the high profile type of positions. But these expectations of parents are very unrealistic. Each and every child has talent, has ability, and we don't want everybody to be a doctor and engineer. We want people to have different skills, different professions, so that society can work and function fully. If we were all doctors and if we were all engineers, then who would do the other jobs? So it's important to allow your children to be who they want to be, and to give them that motivation, that encouragement, that support that they need, not just in the schools, which, you know, Sarah's doing a great job as a head teacher, but also that needs to follow on in the homes as well, the environment and the atmosphere that parents create for those children. It needs to be a drive, not just in the school, but it needs to be a continuation at home as well. And some people might have the ability to have, you know, greater art or greater great at music or great at, you know, drama or great at other professions. There's so many different professions that people can go into. And if people are looking at a profession to say, well, a doctor or an engineer, that's the status that everybody should have. There's better paying jobs in the IT field, and with technology and things that people are now learning, if your child is interested in that, and just, you know, support them and encourage them. That's what I would say, and that's what I've said to all my parents that come to me and you know, said we're not sure what degree they should be doing, and I was saying, well, what do they enjoy doing? Because it's their life at the end of the day. They don't want to be doing something that they're bored to hell with and they totally dislike. I think that's not really going to be satisfactory for anybody at the end of the day.
So, Dada Farooq Qadri Sahab, what do you think, you know, as you see society, especially here in Birmingham, mostly, you know, within our Muslim community, I think education is valued, but unfortunately not much is achieved in a way that, you know, people think that maybe, you know, our children are not achieving enough in the field of education. What do you think, where the problem lies?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon. I welcome both ladies and Sarah, who is a very experienced teacher, and also she had experience of 35 years teaching the minors and also the in juniors and then seniors as well. At the moment, she is heading as a head teacher in a Sparbrook school. So I want to ask her most of the questions we would like to ask her, that what is the problem at the moment, why our Asian children are not progressing well, why they are just after 16 years leave the school and they have no skill, they have no academic education, they don't go to the university. And there is another attached question, so what is the best age for the kids to attend the nursery as well?
Thank you. Great questions. Firstly, I think almost all children do actually achieve very well at primary school. I think it's interesting what you said, what happens by the time they get to the age of 16. Why are some children not going to college or university? I know the families in my school, Mr. Suleiman's families come to my school, most of the children, because we keep in contact with them and the families, actually most of my children do end up going to university or college. But as Ghazala said, that isn't the only thing in life that's important. For some children, university might not be appropriate, they might not want to go. What is important is that drive from inside that comes from a massive combination of home, background, grandparents, school. But the thread that runs through all of that is that people, all of us who are involved in a child's life, we believe in them, we love them, we think they have special talents, they can thrive, they can find things in their life that they love doing and seek to do that. Sometimes with teenagers, and this is a real shame, and schools have a big part to play in this, sometimes as teenagers, we've all been teenagers, and it's not cool to work hard. It's not cool to say, I want to go to uni. It's not cool to do your homework. It's maybe cooler to do none of those things and appear like you've got it all covered and you're a bit of a dude. But that's where we all come in, because with the right praise, the right feedback, clarity on what today means and tomorrow and how that all links together for your future. And it may not be university, it may be many other routes. But what's important is that you as a human being, whether you're 5 or 16 or 18 or us now in our adulthood, what are we giving to the world? How is the world a better place because we are in it? You were also asking about best age for like nursery children. Well, my school starts at the age of 3. That's not statutory school age. Statutory school age in this country is 5. But all parents can have 15 hours a week of free education from the age of 3. So some parents choose full-time private nursery. Schools often have a 3-hour-a-day nursery, which is what we do. So parents can pick morning or afternoon sessions. But as soon as possible would be my answer to that question.
In which year you realize that this boy or girl can go to the university? This will this should be sort of learn some skilled, or this will, you know, without having more education, or without he will leave the school. Do you have a constantly contact with their parents in the parents' evening, or time to time have a meeting with them, and
Yes.
you inform them that what sort of ability they have?
Yeah, so as Mr. Suleiman said, senior teachers are on our gates every morning, and then the teachers take their class out and they stand on the playground for about 10 minutes. So teachers can talk to parents every day if necessary, maybe for just a minute, but either to check in or to say, just to let you know they've done this really well today, or they've struggled with this. And then once a term, so 3 times a year, we have a more formal parents' evening where parents can come and spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes with their child's teacher. But it is really an everyday thing. And we know from research that feedback, whether it's to children directly, the students, or to parents, the most effective feedback is immediate and verbal. So if something's happened today, good or bad or somewhere in between, the best thing to do is to share that today with somebody, not next week or in a month's time, because often parents in the past have said, why have you left parents' evening until the last day of term? If you told me this 2 months ago, I could have helped them at home, which is a very good point. So immediate feedback. You said, is there an age where you think, oh, maybe, you know, this child can go to university? I think in primary school, really that is any age, and any child can go to university if that is appropriate for them and that's what they want. So as Ghazala said, if they don't love it, they're probably not going to thrive in it. But quite a few children join my school maybe when they're 7, 10. They've come from different countries around the world, maybe where they haven't been to school yet, or they've come from a country which is very dangerous to live in, and it's been too dangerous to try and go to school. So they have a lot of catching up to do. So just because a 10-year-old who's come from a different country starts my school and can't read and write yet is a very important word, does not mean they cannot go to university, because they will catch up. If people believe in them, they give them what they need, that child gets supported with the right amount of support, and they have it inside them that, of course I can do this, of course I can achieve, or I can also be a builder or a plumber or a hairdresser or a beautician or a makeup artist or a dancer. Or an artist, a painter, a jewellery maker. Some of those things don't need a university degree, but they do need commitment, passion. They need a willingness to learn, to take on feedback, and to constantly strive to get better. Those are the really important things.
So in your school, do you prepare them for the grammar school 11 plus? When they go to the grammar school, do the children go from your school?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah. So some children go to the grammar schools from my school every year. Some of the things that are in the grammar school test we teach in school, maths, reading. A few things aren't in the normal national curriculum, so the non-verbal reasoning, that is not in the national curriculum. So we don't teach that in school. Many of the children have a little bit of tuition. Their parents organise that for them, which seems to work well, because a lot of the positive outcomes from the tests come from doing a lot of practice of the types of question you will be asked, because they're very specific in the way they ask the question. So all of the maths we do in school, all of the reading, particularly the comprehension and new vocabulary. So a lot of the test is working out if the children understand quite nuanced vocabulary. We do all of that in school, but just some of the little bits like non-verbal reasoning, we don't teach that in school.
Okay.
You know, I mean, basically I remember during my schooling day, when I used to go to school, the only time we used to see the head teacher was when we were naughty and they used to take us for caning. And the teacher used to come out, with a stick. But anyway, that has changed. What I want to ask you is this, that look, sometime, the community as a whole, where this school is based in, think that, school is something run by the government.
Yeah.
So there's a government, and then you have a society, and, there's a big walls around the school. Sometime, the teachers themselves have become, like obstacles that, they don't value maybe what the parents have, something to teach their children that can help them to grow up as a better human being. Because sometimes what I have learned from life is that, there are so many experts in field of education who think they know more than anybody else. And, so the government, follows their policies, and sometimes, that is very counter, it doesn't help. So I know, your school because I have an engagement with our local mosque because we done litter picking together with the
Yeah.
school. I sometimes, go do assemblies on like Ramadan and so forth. So what I'm saying is, school is not a government thing. It's the community, and the government is our government. We are the people who elect the government. It's we who fund the government. So it's our money the government spends, and I think we have a voice, but I think we need a stronger voice. What do you think?
I think that's a really good question again. Schools are combinations of all of those things, but the most important is the community we're in, us as human beings. Our number one value at my school is relationships. And we really mean that because we all are part of this jigsaw, including the government, the Department for Education. The government make laws. The Department for Education has to follow those laws. Sometimes they change for better or for worse. And as you said, sometimes, Mr. Suleiman, the Department for Education will change things. So, for example, phonics, you've probably all heard of phonics. It's the way we teach children to read when they're very early, literally to decode words. And a few years ago, the government said, okay, you need to pick one of these schemes. Like before that, you could do it in the way you thought was best, and then suddenly there was a change. And schools were told you can't do it in the way you think best, you need to pick one of these schemes. So sometimes our hands are tied a little bit. Mostly everybody, including the government, wants what's best for children, and we have to trust that process, and we have to trust our democracy. If we're not happy with it, of course there are ways we can challenge that. I'm also on the national executive of my union, which is the School Leaders Union, the NAHT. So that's one way that I, as a head teacher, passionate about education, about my children and families, I can challenge through that vehicle. There are other ways you can do it as well. Go and see your MP, talk in things like this, talk to parents, work together in mosques, schools, and get a collective voice. Collective voice is very important. But the community is everything, and there isn't a hierarchy. So just because I have a title of head teacher does not make me higher or better or lower than one of my mums, because we're human beings and we have more in common than that which divides us. And the biggest thing we have in common is that we love our children. We want them to be happy. We want them to be safe. And if they are happy and safe, they will thrive. They will learn. We know this from neuroscience. And the more we learn about it, the more we can help our children learn better, clearer, retain knowledge for longer, use that knowledge to have better conversations, to debate, to even argue, to understand we can debate and we can discuss and we can disagree. And that's quite healthy. Disagreement does not mean fight or battle. It means we're having a healthy debate, that we're thinking about things and we're putting our little bits in from what I know from my work, from what you know as being a dad or a mom or from the mosque. Let's work on this together. So they are all part of the same jigsaw, and every single person has something to bring to that, is a piece of that. And if you exclude pieces of that jigsaw, the jigsaw is incomplete, and that will not help any of our children or any of us to thrive as human beings as well.
Guzala Salim Sahaba, I want to ask you, small children, when they are at primary age, I mean, it's easy to motivate them, easy to control them. But as the children grow, become teenagers, that's where the difficulty starts from. And our parents, some are skillful to handle, those rebellious age of children. So what sort of skill do you think as a parents need to see that, their children are growing up and they're safe, and also that, they become a decent, better human being in society, and so that they are credited to them?
I think it's from a parent's perspective, they're looking at the child growing from day one, because learning actually starts right from the beginning. They're learning sounds, they're learning about, colours, they're learning about I mean, I've got a granddaughter who's 11 months, and she's learning, how to clap, she's learning how to point, she's learning how to blow kisses, little gestures that children start to make. So learning actually starts right from the beginning. And as a parent, you're watching how the development of your child, that cognitive development of what they're learning in schools, what they're learning from home, what they're picking up, the words that they're using, the vocabulary. Earlier Sarah was saying about learning the skills of debating, arguing, what is healthy arguments, what are unhealthy arguments, where can they actually control themselves. Parents need to be very, very, they should be observing and monitoring the development of their child, and looking at what circles they're hanging around with, because quite often people point the finger at the schools, or they point the finger at the families, that it's their fault. But sometimes it could be, like she said, it's a jigsaw. Everybody's got an effort to put in here. It could be society, it could be government, something that they're hearing on the news. It could be peer pressure, that they're developing these new characteristics that are then sort of leading that child into a situation where the parents are unable to handle them or to control them. But if they're monitoring them, if they're watching their almost every move, not every single move, but they can, nip that thing in the bud, when that comes about, then they can try to find the reason of them behaving in that way, or what's causing this, and questioning them, and having like a good friendship, I would say, with their children, so that they can open up and share their feelings and their thoughts with them. Because sometimes it's about, where they have this division, or this a situation where they're kind of closing them out, that they're not allowing them to share their emotions with them. It's really important to have that bond with the child, so that when they do experience some of these situations, rather than lashing out and then the parents unable to control them or unable to understand what's going on, being part of their life every step of the way, so that they do have that trust in them, so that they can talk about them if they are struggling in any way. And it might be work at school, they might have fallen behind, they may have some difficulty with somebody in school, they might have a difficulty with a teacher. So it's about sharing this, and then the parents having the skills and understanding to handle these things as well. So it's it goes both ways. It just doesn't mean that the child is at the wrong. Sometimes the parents need to do a lot of learning as well, of how to deal with a difficult, rebellious teenager. And they will become teenagers, and they will become rebellious, because don't forget, we were all teenagers at one time, and we were probably all played up with our parents, at some stage or another. And sometimes children feel that, let me do this, let me see how much I can push them, let me see, what I can get away with. But parents have to be a lot more stronger in their mind and in their approach in this situation, so that they could really help and support their children.
As we are living in a multicultural world, and of course culture plays a very important role in people's life. Maybe sometime, to one culture, something maybe not important, but to another culture is very essential and important. So how does school accommodate with the cultural differences that people have practice and people value, and that that all the culture can appreciate each other and celebrate life itself, that we as human being have this one life, and to be happy, then we have to share this happiness with the whole world, instead of the miserable world that we have today, wars and so forth, and racism is another aspect of that we see every day. So what do you think? How can we accommodate each other and live a happy life, Sarah?
Well, in schools, it's very, very important that children feel like they belong in that school. They have to be psychologically and emotionally safe. If you're not, you can't really learn. You just simply function in a bit of a fight or flight mode. But if you're calm and safe, you will flourish. You will learn new things. Your brain literally works better and faster. So if you feel like you belong, who you are, you need to be loved and cherished and celebrated for who you are. So your cultural background or your heritage, or if you've just come from abroad, like I said, quite a few families from my school come from abroad, that's very important. That is who you are. So your language, your home language, your religion, if you have one, a kind of family you live in. Do you live with your grandparents? Do you live on your own? What do you do? Do you go to mosque after school? Do you go to football on a Saturday? Do you go to swimming lessons? What do you love doing? What are you passionate about? All of those things are very important, and you have to mean what you say about it as well. You can't just say it and then don't really care about it, because actually then children and adults suss you out very quickly and you don't really mean what you say. So at school we have every day we're celebrating children and their lives. It's the end of term, so we're having a talent show on Thursday, 2 talent shows, and children do all kinds of things. Some of the children recite from the Quran, and they dress beautifully. They've learned it. They perform it in a microphone. Some children do nasheeds. Some children get a girl group together or a boy group and they sing a pop song. Some people tell jokes. Some people do gymnastic displays. Some people play their flutes or their violins. All manner of things, and everything is celebrated. And we have once or twice a year a culture day, and this year we're calling it Culture and a Happy Life Day, I think, and we joined it with one of the local mosques to celebrate this. But on our Culture Day, you can dress in anything you like that is something to do with you. So I'm a Brummie, so I always go with my granddad's peak cap, because he always used to wear a flat cap, and now of course that reminds us of Peaky Blinders, which is from Birmingham. My school blazer from Hands with Grandma, I've still got that. I wear that because I loved school, and I might wear lots of jewellery. I love sparkly things. So that's really important to me. I love Shakespeare. My school is a Royal Shakespeare Company lead associate school. So I might wear a little badge or a quote or something that's to do with Shakespeare. So that's who I am. Those things are important to me. And every single one, I've got 70, 80 staff, 420 children. Every one of them will come in something that's important to them. Might be a football kit, a Ronaldo top, something they wore for a wedding or for a party. It doesn't matter, but it's about them and their passions and their beliefs and what is important to them. And if it's important to them, it's important to us. And if you get that right, children and adults and parents and grandparents feel like, yeah, this school is part of me. It's one big family. And we're all safe, not just the children, but the adults as well. And therefore, we can all thrive. So belonging, culture, you, me, we're all different, but actually we're probably the same in about 99% of the ways. And the 1% difference makes us interesting, makes us listen, makes us debate, makes us learn from each other, and makes us human. and particularly in a city like Birmingham, which is so diverse. How fantastic. That is only a positive thing that we can learn from each other. I have a necklace on with the word sabr. I probably haven't said that properly. I think in Arabic means patience, but you know, that was a gift from a child in school because they know I love that word. And we have some Romanian children, we have children from all over the world, and we're always learning little bits of each other's language, and we share all of that all of the time.
Farooq Qadri Sahab, as our head teacher, has said that, you know, Birmingham is a multicultural city, and different culture, you know, practices their own cultural things, which is a good thing, and you know, we should join each other. I mean, you know, when we have Eid, it's a happy occasion for the Muslims all over the world, and maybe we can share our happiness with other communities who may be not celebrating Eid, but you know, they can be part of that happiness. So what do you think? Muslim should encourage this cross celebration in different events?
No, I mean, this been going on for a long time, and all the community get together, the festivals, and enjoy Eid, Diwali, and Baisakhi, and whatever the Asian occasions are. But what I want to ask Madam Teacher, that what do you advise the parents and the new parents or the parents whose children's ages are 8, 9 and 10, what sort of a measurement they should take? Do they have the private tuitioning to have so their children can pass the grammar tests? So what sort of a suggestion and advice you are advising them?
Perhaps Ghazala and I can answer that question. I'll start off. It's really about you and your family. So the 11 plus grammar school it's not for everybody. I mean, it can't be. Literally, statistically, I think it's the top 1% of children who take the test. It's very, very competitive in Birmingham because there are only a handful of schools, and it is not for everybody. It's definitely for some children. And if you had hours and hours and hours and hours of tuition and you got in, and then you struggled when you were there, yes, that is not good for anybody. So it is really, really important to think if you do get in, they are beautiful schools. They are highly academic. They are very sporty. They're very arty. But if you...
Sorry for the interruption. The answer you have given me is that when they go to the university, do they drop off? You are saying that again and again repeated, and they pass the grammar test and they are not successful in uni education?
Oh no, I don't think that's true at all. So many children, because there's so many children who don't go to grammar school, either they didn't want to take the test. Quite a few parents now are saying, you know what, they don't want to do it. It's too stressful, and they will do well whichever school they are in. That's what parents very regularly say now. So if you don't go to grammar school, then will you go to university? Absolutely yes. There is no reason why you shouldn't, if that's what you choose to do. So there is not a correlation necessarily between grammar school and university. Any school, secondary school, work hard, go for it, try new things, be an interesting person, want to do new things, want to take on your education. Not going to grammar school does not stop you going to university.
Okay. So can you?
So basically, with the adding to what you've just said, I totally agree with what Sarah has actually said. To such an extent where the children have actually become quite miserable, and they're not. We want children to be children, to enjoy their education. So, we want children to actually enjoy their life, their education. And if we're going to put into their minds that education is something a form of a punishment because you have to do this. You know, you're pushing them to that extent. They're not really going to want to study, and they, even if they end up going to a grammar school, they probably won't be very happy there. So it's important to just see what pace your child is developing, how well they're doing. Encourage them, support them, help them. If they don't get into grammar, it's not the end of the world. People have gone into grammar and then not achieved the results that they were expecting in their GCSEs. And children have gone into normal comprehensive or normal secondary schools and become high achievers because they've probably been late developers. They've you know, just clicked, something's just clicked to them, and then they've just gone on that education journey, and everything's just been coming to them naturally. So my view about this grammar thing is that there shouldn't be too much emphasis on this. I know of people that have studied at Oxford University and they went to normal comprehensive schools. So, you know, who knows when somebody's going to develop, when somebody's going to get the ability to change. And, you know, it has to be a drive within the individual to learn and study.
I want to know through the Takbeer TV, and we've been watched worldwidely, that this channel is live, and we've been watching all over the world. That what sort of advice you are giving to the parents, that what should they do, how do they bring up their children the ages of 8, 9, 10, because this is the critical age, and how could they prepare them for the university education or the college education. What is the difference between when they go to the college or university? Some people go to the university direct, some go to the college, and then after that they go to the university. I will ask Sarah this question, please.
I'm glad you've asked me that. One of the most important things that parents can do at home with their children, and there's a report that has very recently come out that I'll tell you about in a minute, is, well, two things. Read. And when I say read, help them to read, obviously accurately, but more importantly, encourage them and your whole household to read for pleasure. So in your house, who sits down and says, oh, I can't wait to pick up my book and read another chapter? Or let's have half an hour where we all read our books, non-fiction, fiction, because the National Literacy Trust have just done a piece of research with all school-age children in England, and the number of children who say they read for pleasure is at an all-time low. 47%, I think, of children said nobody encourages them to read at home for pleasure.
They don't check their homework.
Yeah. They only 33% of children in England said they love reading for pleasure. In other words, not homework, just pick up a book and read it. Get to the next chapter, read again. Even little children who wouldn't read chapters necessarily, but they love a book and they go, Mommy, Daddy, can we read this? Bedtime stories. I think 47% of parents did not encourage their children to read at home. And all of the research shows that if you love reading at a young age and you want to pick up a book, you will sleep better, you will learn better, you will retain more facts, you will retain knowledge about what you've read, you can concentrate better, your academic success will be better, your reading scores will be better. These things are all common sense, but actually is now backed up by very strong research.
Good suggestion.
Yeah, please encourage your children to read, and you read, show them, you as an adult, oh, I love this book, I love this author. It's not always a screen or a tablet. The other thing which goes hand in hand with that is good quality conversation at home, round the dinner table, sitting next to each other. Even if you are watching TV, have a chat about it, because children need to be able to express their opinions, their ideas. That's how reading is judged, for example, in a test. You don't test reading by can they read the words, you test reading by asking them questions about what they have read. Comprehension, inference, how do you think that character felt? Why do you think that? What do you think that word might mean? Why did they say this? And the more you talk about that kind of thing at home, high quality conversations where people are using good quality vocabulary in any language, children will pick up on that and they will hear that good quality. They will hear the questions, the answers, the contemplation, the maybe, the curiosity, and that will feed their love of learning. So a big message is, are you part of the 53% as parents who do encourage reading for pleasure, or the 47% who don't encourage reading for pleasure? Is your child one of the 33% who says, I love picking up a book and reading? Or part of the 67% who say, yeah, I don't really like reading? Massive link between reading, loving reading, and all of those things, and university and academic success, and how much you earn probably as well later on in life. It shows you're curious about things. So read, read, read.
We only got a few minutes left. So what advice, Ghazala Salim Saiba, each one of our panel will give to our parents about the education? Just
Being a grandparent, I have gained a lot of knowledge today's session, and I think our audience will have gained as well the the whatever their weakness are to improve their behavior with their children as well.
Hopefully,
Sorry, Ghazala.
hopefully that's a good signal and a good message to everybody. Hopefully that's a good message for everybody, that it's really important that you be part of your child's life. Reading is an excellent way of development, and it does actually create curiosity and it ignites their imagination. So they normally, sometimes when you're reading with a child, sometimes they already start imagining what's going to happen next, which is a great way for their development as well. So and that's part of the deen as well, Ikra, that is Ikra, which is part of reading. So this is something that everybody should be applying in their lives. And yes, sometimes people might say that, okay, I'm going to read on the phone or read on a tablet. It's important to get that paper base, so that you've got the feeling, you're flicking the pages, you're reading which number you're on. So and I think just collectively, everybody being aware that your child's development and your child's education is not just the teacher's responsibility, it's a collective responsibility of everybody at home, at school and in society.
My message is read, as we've all said, but also ask your children questions. When you pick them up from school or they get home and your granddad or grandma, don't say, oh, what happened at school today, with that face. Say, what did you love about school today? What did you learn? What made you happy?
dear viewers, end of our program today. Inshallah, we will come back next week. I hope that you have heard our panelists saying some good things and we learn from them, and inshallah next week we will have other guests. They will give us advice to how to build a better future. Thank you very much.